welcome back to the Eternian Stories channel, where today, gonna be in a different setup, obviously. I'm actually kind of enjoying this setup. Just sitting on the couch, chatting. Oops. What did I do? I'm trying to open my tablet right now, and it's, not working with me, because I wrote some notes again. I've been using Notion to keep notes for my, videos a lot more. I'll definitely leave a link to them in the description if I remember, because I'm kind of, like I said, I'm really enjoying Notion right now. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about, if I can find it, here we go. This video is going to be about writing more words in a session of writing. So I did a couple of different methods, which I'll be talking about in each, part of this video. But I used Forest. What else did I do? I used an actual Pomodoro app where it sets the Pomodoro for you, 25-minute sprints, 5-minute breaks. Long break is 15 minutes after 4 Pomodoros. And then I did a bunch of 100-word sprints because I know tiny sprints work really well for me. And I, wanted to see how that was going to go. So for the Forest app, what I know about it is, kind of a lot. I know that it's an app that's supposed to help you stay focused by setting a timer anywhere between 10 minutes and 3 hours. During that timer, you're choosing if you use your phone or leave the app at all. It does kill the tree, and you have to start over for that timer. So basically, it doesn't count towards anything at that point. And then I think this could definitely help me write more productively because I wouldn't be able to use my phone, which is my biggest problem when I'm writing. Is I spend too much time, looking up things, looking at my social medias, texting people, whatever. And it's just a really big distraction for me. So I think the hardest part is actually going to be staying off the internet while I'm writing, because I'm going to be setting 4 25-minute timers with a 5-minute break in between, like I said. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. So I'll come back to you guys after I finish the Forest Pomodoros. Alrighty, so we are at the end of the first sprint here, and I wrote about 343 words, and the sprint was really good to help me get back into my novel. I think, the only thing about having so little words in almost half an hour is that I spent a lot of time thinking about what I wanted to write, and I did spend a lot of time looking for, the perfect video to play in the background and stuff like that. But I think this is a good start for the first sprint of these 4 sprints that I'm going to be doing with Forest, but I have to get back to writing soon, so I will get back to you guys after the second sprint. Okay, so ignore my messy desk over here. I still have to clean that yet, but I just moved over to the desk. We're at the other desk over here, and I just finished the second sprint, of which I wrote some notes on. So I wrote 515 words this time, and in this one, So I wrote almost 200 more words than I did before, and I was a lot more focused and knew where I was in my novel, so it was a lot easier to write about, whatever I was writing. And then I'm rewriting my novel right now, like the sections that I do have, which is why I printed it out. I don't know if I showed you guys in the last clip, but I show you guys this thing all the time because this is my pride and joy. This is my, I'd say 2/3 of the way finished novel. Well, actually, it's only halfway done now because I added 2 more points of view. But up to that point, it was 2/3 of the way done. So I have the story for these 2 characters, and their worlds colliding, I guess, because they meet at the blood drive and all this stuff happens. So I have all of that, but rewriting that part and making sure that we can intertwine these other 2 points of view at the same time is also very important. So, like I said, while I'm rewriting, I'm also adding new content to this story because I have to add 2 more characters. I think it's after sections I believe it only goes up to about 40 or something like that. Yeah, section 40 is when I end the sections with Vlad and Damien. So then when we go to 43, 44, and then every consecutive 2 in between Xander and Celine's sections, I have to add more content there. So this is going to get a whole lot bigger when I print it the second time. So when I was looking at the original manuscript, because that's what I'm writing from, so I have this sat next to me while I'm writing, and then up here I have my new manuscript, so I'm reading what it says here and writing what I'm able to change up or what I love or what I want to keep for that section. So there was still a lot of improvement from this manuscript that I printed. Having a physical copy of this novel has actually been really helpful to me because it's given me something to look at physically, and if I want to write notes on it or I want to make changes here and there, it's a lot easier to do. And I like being able to write down all of my markups and stuff, which is also why I have this journal here that I'm going to be using. This is actually just a blank page. This is a page that I need for something, but you know, I have all of these pages here that are going to help me to really keep track of everything that's going on in this novel and keeping up with my characters and what they have going on in their own lives, because they all have their own storyline. They just kind of intermingle sometimes and intertwine. So I want to keep track of all of those things as well. And being able to write in a physical form is very helpful to me because it helps me remember, like, oh, I wrote this thing earlier, like, oh, there's something in here that I wrote. Here we go. So in the, what section is this? In section 5 with Xander, I wrote this whole little, like, I don't know if you can even see that. I wrote this whole blurb, and I wrote it really fast, so I can barely even read it myself. But, sorry, I was just rereading it because I forgot what I wrote. So I wrote this whole note here, and now I can look back on it and be like, oh yeah, I wanted to add this element to the story, or oh hey, this thing happened, I need to make sure I remember that for later. So that's very helpful for me too. I'm just rambling at this point, but we're almost there, I swear. And I mean, I guess the last thing that I can mention is that there's plenty of space. Like at the top of these sections, there's so much room. Like I feel like I could fit a whole sticky note there of just like notes that I want to make to this section or the story, you know, whatever happens. So overall, I think in the next sprint, I'm definitely going to get a lot written, and I'm going to just get to it. So I will see you guys after that sprint. Alrighty, so just a change up of angle here a little bit. I just finished another sprint, and big white screen behind me. It's, yep, it just doesn't want to, like, focus on, yeah, it doesn't want to focus on the screen. That's okay. Ignore my wires everywhere. My desks are always a mess. That is going to be something I do later. Later this month, probably, I will clean up all of this, like, extra clean, and use this thing to keep a lot of my stuff in. I love how I said this thing and then it went out of frame. I have a little, there we go. Use this thing to keep everything more organized. I just have a lot of art supplies in it right now that I use regularly, and all of my pens and whatnot. I just need to organize it a little bit better so that I can use it functionally on a daily basis. Also, can we just say hello to my lovely water bottle I have here? I was sent a gift card by my grandma for Christmas, and I got this lovely, it's actually made for coffee, but I don't put coffee in it very often. I put water in it more often because it keeps it super cold for, like, I can put ice in this thing and it'll still have little pieces of ice by the end of the day. So this water bottle I absolutely love. I got it from Starbucks, and it's beautiful and very summery. And I just love it so much. So don't forget to drink your water, guys. I'm going to refill that as soon as we're done here. So, into the third sprint here. So I wrote about 401 words. And I think, let's see, almost as much as the last one. I'm still pretty happy with how much I wrote because, I mean, that's more words than I had before. So, and this is through these sprints, I've written over 1,000 words so far. Probably about 1,200, almost 13. So for me, the hard part is making the voices stand out between these characters. So I have Xander, Celine, Damien, Vlad. That's the order that the sections go in. After draft one, I might change that to putting a couple sections closer together and not have them so, I don't know, staggered, I guess? I don't know what the word would be for that. But I just want to make their voices stand out from each other a lot better. Think about how this character is going to feel about things, how this character is going to think about things, like what kind of words they would use to describe things. And so that's another big thing, is describing setting. Different characters are going to describe things differently. Like later, there's a section where Xander and Celine go to a like kind of a haunted house thing. It's like an old abandoned house, I think. And Celine describes the house very differently than Xander would, because I mean, he's not scared. He's like, okay, whatever, it's just a house. She's just like terrified the entire time. So just showing the difference between those two characters through their feelings, actions, etc., I think is very important. And in these beginning sections, I really want to set, which character is talking and which character section it is without having to. I mean, even if I didn't have the name of the character at the top of the section, I still want to be able to mostly know which character is, in this section. So, let's see here. What else did I say? Because I took notes each sprint, so every 5-minute break, I write down my notes, and then I'm making the little vlog piece here. So, let's see. I think for Damien, which is the section I just wrote, I think it's his first section of the novel. We just need to get through to the reader how much, and by we I mean me, I guess. So I need to get through to the reader just how much he hates Xander and wants nothing to do with him, wants him dead, doesn't want him to be leader of the society, whatever. So that's very important. And then there's Vlad, who is calculated but like really good at acting. Oh, I just kicked the stand. My bad on that. We'll just come over here then. How about that? And you guys can see my lovely Godzilla poster. I will show you guys that later. It's very beautiful. And then a couple of my wedding pictures up there. I am getting very distracted. Vlad is a character who is very calculated, and every move he makes, there's a reason for it, or he's thought about it for a long time and it's like, okay, this is how this is going. So he has that going for him, but at the same time, he's really good at acting and really good at making other characters think that he loves Xander like a son. Because even when Damien talks to him after the meeting, Damien's like, what the, huh? What do you mean you don't like him, like, at all, and you want him dead too? Like, you've always treated him like a son when his parents died and stuff. So, I mean, his acting is just 10 out of 10. So I just need to make sure I, like, show that in the sections that he's in. So, like, the characters around him have no clue how he really feels unless he, like, outright tells them, hey, I hate this kid and I want him dead also. Other than that, I mean, no one really knows that he doesn't like him. So this thing keeps rotating and it's kind of annoying. We could just turn auto rotate off and that might help. So Xander, on the other hand, is just confused and in shock that Vlad would name him as next ruler of the society when this is his first time coming back. He hasn't been here since he was probably like a little kid. The aging on the vampires is a little bit weird, and I'm still trying to work out how all of that works. But Xander, he just came back after being gone for a very long time. And then Vlad goes, yep, you're the next ruler. I'm going to be retiring. Cool, bye. I mean, not bye, but you get the point. He, like, is just, like, shoving him into this role. And he's like, wait a minute, I don't even know if I want to do that. So he's just a very confused kid, and he's in shock. And so you just have to kind of take that into account, like, how he's going to feel about, like, other things that are happening and whatnot. And just really trying to be a little bit more realistic about it, but not really, because it's a mystical world with vampires and other monsters and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not really going to be realistic, but I think in the feelings that the characters have, that's what's important. So Celine is a human, and she has no idea what's going on in the supernatural world. And later in the novel, Damien introduces her to it after Xander has already, and she plays dumb to make him think that she doesn't know anything. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. That might change, but that's what's going on for now. So at the beginning of the novel, she has no idea what's going on. She doesn't know anything about the supernatural run of the world because she had a run-in with, I think, some vampires or something. I don't remember. I have to kind of work on her backstory a little bit and her parents and whatnot, but because I've changed them quite a lot from where it began. So she had a run-in with like some vampires or some kind of monster in the Magic Erasers. Those are the people. Kind of like if you think of like Men in Black, you know, that little thing they have that they go pachoo, pachoo, and it like flashes and people forget things. Same idea, but they have people to do that, not like little thingies though. The same idea, the Magic Erasers took away her memories of whatever supernatural thing happened. And so she has no idea. She's just a normal human girl working a full-time job, you know, going to school, trying to juggle both of these things and have a social life. And, you know, she's struggling in general because that's what humans do. She's in high school and she works a full-time job, like, I mean, or a part-time job, sorry. She's going to school full-time and she's working part-time because she only works on the weekends. So in the next section, she's going to meet Xander and everything's going to change for her. Like, her entire world were, I mean, just shatter in a way and just be opened up and just everything's going to change for her. And I really want the emotions of that character and the others to show through no matter what the character around them knows or thinks of them. Like, writing it in first person for me was always going to happen because these characters, I want to have the reader like be in their head, understand what they're thinking, understand what's going on throughout the novel, but also at the same time be like, well, what's going to happen here because this person knows this, but this person doesn't know this. You know, it's a whole, you know, thing, but I tried writing it in third person, but you just don't get to hear the character's thoughts as much as I would want you to, so first person was always going to happen. I have spoken long enough, though, so I'm just going to move on to the next sprint, and then I will get back to you guys. I think that's going to be the last sprint, though, that's coming up, so I'll probably wrap up this section, and then we'll see what happens. I keep changing up camera angle to show the difference between, like, each sprint, but I don't know about this one. I kind of like it, I kind of don't. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think it's, oh, hey, that reminds me, that white thing right there. I need to take that out so I can use it for storing stuff. Anyways, that's a different thing for a different time. So we just finished the fourth sprint here, and I wrote 159 words. This sprint was a little bit hard because I got a lot, I was writing from, you know, Vlad's point of view after finding out that Damien doesn't like Xander at all and he wants to get rid of him also. So he wants to work with Vlad to kill Xander, basically. I don't know if you can say kill on YouTube. Well, whatever. Anyways, so they want to work together on this. There's a lot of things going through his mind right now, Vlad's, and I mean, he has to get the banquet ready for Xander as well because he just turned 180, which basically in their world, that timing is 18, so I made 10 years. It seemed like one human year because they're vampires, so years end up a lot longer. Or increments of life end up a lot longer. So he's setting up this banquet right after. So let me back up a little bit. So there was the meeting and then his conversation with Damien, which I had to change the timing on because the banquet was originally later in the week, but I want it to be the same day because then the blood drive is the next day after that, so that all of my sections flow. So there's the meeting, he talks with Damien, there's the banquet, and then he talks with Freya at the end of the day. So it's just a whole, you know, very long day for Vlad, so we just have to show, like, his slow descent to exhaustion and stuff like that. And you to get ready for this banquet. For Xander, turning 180 is no. Oh, so he doesn't really want to be doing this like banquet at all, but he has to pretend like it's like the best thing in the world that this is happening. Yay, Xander's turned 180. Wow. Now he can take over the society in a couple years. Or yeah, something like that. So it's just really, I mean, through all of these, sections here, I've really just been trying to emphasize how much characters' emotion is important in the story, and seeing the things around them and whatnot. So my thoughts after doing this whole Pomodoro thing through Forest is that, I mean, doing 4 25-minute sprints was it helped me write a lot of words, because I mean, like I said, I wrote like 1,400 words. So during this time, I also had time, because they were 25-minute sprints, I had time to think about and figure out how each character's voice is different from one another. If I was doing, just writing for however long I feel like, or for how many words I feel like, I think it would have been more distracting. Like, I would have been more distracted, and I would have been like, oh, I wrote, 100 words. Cool, now we're done. I think this time constraint really makes it easier for me to stay focused, and just kind of stick with what I'm writing for just a small period of time, just a small chunk of time, focus on this character, what they're trying to accomplish, what's going on in their section, and then, I can take a 5-minute break, although I'm vlogging in the 5-minute break, but it is kind of helpful at the same time to talk about my thoughts and stuff like that after I've written a section, so I might do that a little bit more often in my writing vlogs. Just kind of write a little bit and then talk about it, because this has been really helpful for me to think about and decide what I'm doing with the story and where my characters are going and whatnot. So through the smaller sprints of writing, I do exactly that. In the allotted time, I write as many words as I can, but it's also not a bad thing to write less words on one than another, because that just means I needed more time to think about my characters and what's going on around them, or maybe I took a better look at the setting and gave the reader a better sense of what it feels and looks like to be in the setting that the characters are in. Because I really want, I guess for me, the best way to kind of sum up all of the things that I've been saying is, I want the reader to feel like Damien's here, sitting in this chair talking to Vlad, right? Vlad's behind the desk. I want the reader to feel like they're right next to him, or in this chair with him, feeling these things, seeing these things, being spoken to, how he's being spoken to, all those things. So I just want the reader to be so immersed into this story. So I think on the next set of sprints, I'm going to really be working on that quite hard. And I will update you guys when I start that one. Okay. So I've eaten some food, drank some more water, and refilled that water bottle there. There we go. And I think I'm going to start the Pomodoro Tomato method, which is an app I found on the Google Play Store. Literally, you could find so many of them. It just sets the Pomodoros for you, so 25 minutes 25-minute blocks with 5-minute breaks in between. And you can actually change how many minutes they are, if you want the breaks to be longer or shorter, or no breaks, but that wouldn't make sense. So I did download that app, and it's a lot like the Forest app, except it sets them for you, so you don't really have to worry about, setting those sprints and making sure you only take the 5 minutes or however long you want the break to be. So it would be easier for me than the Forest timers, because I wouldn't have to keep track of anything timing wise, where with the Forest app I have to keep track of how long my breaks are, though. And so through that, some of them end up being longer or shorter than others. I'm excited to see how this Pomodoro goes. I'm definitely hoping to write more words than last time, now that I have a little bit more of a structured thing going on. I guess that remains to be seen, though, so we will see what happens. And then a couple of thoughts I have before I start is, in this set of sprints, I want to take time to understand my characters and feelings in each section, but I also want to take more time to have the reader take in the setting around them, so they can feel like they are right alongside the character. feelings of things they're feeling, seeing the things they're seeing. Like I said at the end of the last set of sprints and my closing thoughts, just to kind of tie these two sections together. So I'm going to do the first sprint, and I will come back and let you guys know how it goes. Alrighty, so I just finished the first sprint and drank some water, and I wrote 340 words, which is kind of funny that it's 3 words less than the first of the 4 sprints. Again, on the first sprint, I had problems getting back into what I was writing and figuring out what I want to do with the story. And I always, when I'm working on the story, I always have in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about other parts of the story and just like the big picture of the story. But I feel like at this point, I should take it, smaller pieces at a time and watch it all kind of link together and just make sure the characters are following their stories along. I need to open more curtains. It is not bright enough in here. I have the big lights on right now. But I do need to open more curtains because it is sunny outside finally. It's been raining so often, but it's finally sunny, and I'm okay with that. And we should look at my plants too. We'll do that later after these sprints. Let's see. So I'm still working on Vlad's section, in which needs a lot more detail and feeling from his character, because he hates Xander so much, but because he's the leader of the Vampire Society, he has to play the part in hosting an over-the-top banquet for Xander coming back to the society and becoming an adult. And I think there needs to be a lot more conversation between all the people, and maybe overhear a couple of small conversations between, like, random people. Because, I mean, the society is made up of, I don't know how many people, but a lot of people. So I think there should be, like, random little bits and bobs of conversations that are heard, while people are doing things, and people talking to Xander, and just all these things going on. Because, like I said, I want the reader to feel like they are right there in that setting with those characters. I'm going to start the second sprint though, and I will come back to you guys and we'll see how it goes. Alright, so I just finished the second sprint. Let's see. So I was able to get more written for Vlad's section, and I wrote about 360 words, 20 more words exactly than the last sprint. The banquet, the scene's going fine. I still kind of want to change it up a little bit because I don't really like how non-descriptive it is, which we'll get to that eventually. But for now, Xander is about to have a fight with Damien about their parents and whatnot, because Damien obviously comes to the banquet, and I mean, he just raises all kinds of hell because that's what he does. And there needs to be a lot of emotion behind this fight, because these two characters have been butting heads for years. Not really butting heads, but just kind of ignoring each other. So now they're butting heads. Xander doesn't really hate Damien, but Damien hates Xander. So we have to kind of, and by we I mean me. Every time I say we, I mean me, myself, and I. The 3 most important people. I'm kidding, my cat is the most important person. But anyways, I have to figure out how to put a lot of emotion in that because of how these characters have felt about each other. Xander is just really aching for a friend at this point, and Damien is like, no, I want none of this. I don't want to be your friend. I want you dead. So they both have to kind of deal with this in their own ways, and then them fighting is kind of, I don't know how to explain that, but they're just kind of, I don't know, they're just fighting now. So, that whole thing is going on, and we will see what happens there, I suppose. Because this fight is going to be something. It's going to be something. Alright, so here we are at the end of sprint 3. I am starting to get tired, because I've written quite a lot today. But I wrote about 115 words, and this one was a lot harder to find the right words, because a lot needs to change about the section that I'm working on. All of Damien and Vlad's sections need to change, actually, because they were literally the first of the first drafts of those sections I've written before. Because it was just in the last round of trying to finish the story that I decided to add these characters. So their sections are very rough, and there's not a lot of detail. There's not a lot going on for them. So, in the last sprint, I definitely hope to write more than I did this time and find the words I'm looking for, because oh my goodness, this sprint was so hard. I would write down a couple words and then I would backspace and then be like, no, let me write it this way, or I'd be like, no, let's just change this entire paragraph. Then it would end up a lot shorter. So I definitely hope in the next sprint to write even just a little bit more would be fine. I just don't want to write 115 words in 25 minutes. That's kind of crazy. So I'll let you know how the last sprint goes and then wrap up this Pomodoro as well. I don't know if I like this angle. Am I gonna have to back up a little? Yeah, that'll be good. We're sitting next to the desk is right here. My tablet is here. I just finished the last sprint and I did write a little bit more words than the third sprint. I wrote 201 words, and I spent more time on writing Vlad's point of view of the banquet that he had in honor of Xander in general. Character names right now, they all just keep like flying right out of my mind. So he hates the entire thing, but Damien is the only one who gets to outright show it, because everyone knows Damien hates Xander. No one knows that Vlad also hates him and wishes him dead. I think it came through pretty clearly how he feels about Xander, and I'm really excited for the coming sections though, because that's when Xander is going to be going to the blood drive and giving blood and meeting Celine for the first time, and I think it's just going to be a whole crazy time, because that's where my story started, and I'm just so excited to do that in the next round of sprints. But some of the things that I've learned through this method here is that it works a lot better for me because all the timers are already set and I don't have to worry about them. I just press one button and then I go through with it and just kind of go from there. And I can just start writing or thinking about the section I'm on and right away until the timer ends and the break begins, and then the 5 minutes felt like the perfect time to get up, go refill my water, stretch my legs a little bit, obviously vlog what's going on, which only takes a couple minutes, and then get back to writing. So the biggest problem for me was spending so much time at my desk working on various projects. It puts a strain on my back because I don't sit up straight, because this desk or this chair wasn't really made for probably sitting in for long periods of time, and I need better structure. So I think next time I do this, I'll like try to find some 4 to 5 minute yoga flows that I can do to help get my muscles moving and stretched out after sitting in a kind of hunched over position for so long. But I mean, other than that, I loved this Pomodoro method over the forest one, because the forest one, like I said, I have to kind of set the timers myself, whereas this one, it's all set, everything's done, boom, bang, bam. And, you know, I think that's great. And like I said, the 5 minutes is, it feels refreshing to not think about my story for 5 minutes, and then it's the perfect amount of time, because then I can go back into my story and still remember what I was doing and where I was in the story. So I think it was really good. I'm going to take a quick break, because that was about, I think it's like 2 hours or something like that. So I'm going to take a little longer of a break from my writing, and then we'll come back and look at the next type of sprint that I want to try. All right, so here we are about to start. Oops, I gotta back up a little bit so I can be in frame. About to start the next of the sprints. These are going to be different. I wanted to do word count instead of the Pomodoro thing. I tried for 2 different types. So this one is going to be the 100 word sprints, and I kind of broke them up into 5 sprints at a time, because I think they're going to go a lot faster, and I don't want to, you know, have to sprint for like 30 seconds to a minute, talk about it, you know. So what I know before I start is that this method will definitely probably work for me, because writing for shorter periods of time or shorter amounts of words is very helpful to me. And I have tried this one before with the 12 level dungeon crawl, which I ended up making into like a 20 or 40 level one, because it just wasn't long enough for me and my rolls were really good. So I am going to talk about the 12 level dungeon crawl in the next video because I am going to have a part 2 to this because I picked so many different things and even doing 3 of them is taking quite a lot of time. So I am going to make another video on the other half of the sprints that I decided to have. So the 100-word sprints are, I mean, for me, I think writing 100 words at a time from what I know from before is that, you know, I'm writing for 30 seconds to a minute, maybe a couple minutes at most, and then I get to take a break for half a minute, and then, you know, I do it again and again and again. And it helps me really just kind of stay in that mindset of writing and whatnot. So I think it's going to go decently well. My thoughts before I start are going to be that, I mean, in these very small, sprints. I definitely want to get as much written as I can, of course, but it is 100 words, so I want to get them done in the least amount of time possible, I would guess then. And then more than just writing words for the sake of keeping up with numbers, I want to continue to work to make this story as like good as I can before finishing this draft, because I have written this so many times and I'm ready to be done with it. So I want to find the most efficient way to write words, but not just to write words, to get this story written and finished. I also want to start thinking about where I want the story to go and how I want it to end for the beginning of the, being the first novel of a series. I don't know how many books are going to be in this series, though. I'm thinking 3 to 5 books, but I would definitely think that it could be more because I have trouble finishing things. Obviously, as seen by this first novel here, that's taken me almost 5 years to write. So I know it'll definitely be at least 3 novels, although we will see how much longer eventually. I'm going to get into that first round of sprints, and I will let you guys know how it goes. Have another angle change, but I finished the first round of sprints. I did 5 of them, and in the first sprints I got through the fight between Xander and Damien. I think it went pretty well, but the sprints went by like so fast. I literally was only writing for like maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes, probably less than that, because I wrote like 500 words because I did 5 sprints. Most of my sprints, though, did end up being a little bit longer than 100 words because I would, you know, I would write for like a minute and then be in the middle of a sentence and then just kind of keep going. And so breaking this down, writing 500 words into smaller 100 word sprints was a lot easier to take in and get done looking at each little individual piece, not the big picture. I had a lot of fun with it too because I took a couple of, you know, like 30 second to 1 minute breaks, and at the end of the 5 sprints I took a longer 5-minute break, which is what I'm doing right now. And I mean, then I went back to writing, and I think the 5-minute break is the sweet spot for me for, you know, having that break, but also feeling refreshed enough to get back into my writing, but remembering what I was writing about in the first place. So I think that's really good. I just need to either do some yoga flows in between in, you know, the small breaks I have, or on the longer breaks I'll do like, you know, maybe a 20-minute yoga flow or something, because I really cannot spend this much time at this desk because my hips and back are in so much pain. All of my muscles and joints hurt. That's a different medical problem, but just dealing with those things is very hard. So I'm going to do the second round of sprints, and then I will get back to you guys. I don't know about this angle. I kind of like it, and you can't see all of the mess over there. I think I tried this angle earlier too. I kind of like it though. Yeah, because the Godzilla poster was in there, but I kind of like this a little bit more. Yeah, it's really good. Anyways, I finished my second round of sprints, which is going to be the last of the sprints on this one because I am getting so tired. I've done all of these in one day. As you can see, I'm wearing the same shirt, same clothes. My hair looks the same, everything. So on this second round of sprints, I finally finished Vlad's section. These sections end up being so long. I mean, even just looking over here, they're so long, it's kind of ridiculous. Let's see. At the end, we got a glimpse of the plan to kill Xander. Damien's plan that he talked about with his best friend Cole. Because Xander's not his friend anymore, obviously. So he has a new best friend! Cole is kind of a wild card, though. That man's crazy. He kills vampires just for the fun of it. I don't know how I came up with that idea, but now he's a character in this novel, and I love it, so he's staying. So it's he's gonna be using a girl who thinks he likes him to kill Xander. Like he's gonna. So Damien going on dates with the girl right now to get closer, become friends, whatever. Maybe they'll even become lovers later in the series. I don't know. But or she'll have to choose between the two. It'll be really interesting to make her choose and then see what her decision is. But anyways, so oh man. This writing's making me so tired. Well, I think here. So I mean, man, thinking is hard. I really have to think about this. The only problem is that later in the novel, Damien's actually going to start to grow feelings for her, so he doesn't want to use her for whatever, because then, you know, she'll realize it because she's a smart girl, and then there'll be all kinds of problems with that. So, like I said, they'll go on small dates to start to get to know each other a lot better. And then he should have kept a better distance emotionally. Later in the novel, he should have kept a distance. But Damien aches for affection as well because he doesn't really have a very close friend like he had with Xander, and his parents are dead. And then I was able to finally start, and I've only written, like 2 paragraphs of this section with Xander, but this is where the novel started. And I always get so like emotional rewriting this part because, and I mean, I have so much fun rewriting it because this is the part that started it all. This section was the beginning, and it's changed a few times, and it probably will change again, but this is what started this novel. And I was watching a video over there. I had so much fun going back to it and looking at it, and I mean, even only 2 paragraphs in, I still have so much fun with it. It's crazy to see how far the story has come from when I started it, and like, I don't know. I definitely want to, next time I pick up this novel, which I don't even know when that'll be, I want to take my time to make sure that this section specifically ends up as good as it can be. I mean, I should be making sure all of them do, but I take particular care in this one. And then, I mean, these sprints were a lot easier to work with and stay focused and get words written because, I mean, I only did 2 of them, and I wrote like over 1,000 words. And that was probably in like a 30-minute period, where before, if I said I wanted to write 1,000 words in 30 minutes, I'd be like, oh, you're crazy. That's not really going to happen. That's a lot of words to write in 30 minutes, where doing them in smaller chunks like this, I was able to write them no problem. So it's all about perspective, I would say. And all I would have to do is stay focused for at least a few minutes at a time, and then I could take a break, and then, you know, another few minutes. Writing 100 words was so easy, and then as I got more into the writing, I would go past the amount I needed to get to, like I was saying a minute ago. And, you know, I would get 200 words and then forget and be like, oh, whoops, I was only supposed to go to 100, and then I could take a break. So it kind of builds that writing confidence, I suppose. And then I think this method is the best of all of them. And I definitely feel more refreshed after each sprint because I don't have to spend as much time on them. And I mean, it's so much easier to write each time. So just some closing thoughts for this writing experiment that I did here. Forest is great if I have a set amount of time that I can write for. But, I mean, the Pomodoro, you know, it ended up being a little better because all the timers were set and I didn't have to touch anything. I only pressed it once, and then for the 2 hours, I'm good to go. And I know when my sprints and breaks are going to be. But even more so, the 100-word sprints were, I mean, they were out of this world because I didn't have to I mean, worry about how long I was writing for or how many words I was writing. And it just really felt like I was being a lot more creative with my writing. And I think that's my favorite type of sprint so far. There is going to be a part two to this video in the next like few weeks, I think. So just definitely check out for that. It'll be coming up. And I will see you guys in the next video. Let me know down below what works for you writing wise, like what kind of a setting or how you like to write and stuff like that. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.